Hey guys, it's Holly. So today we're going to be taking a look at one of two brand new LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts Moments classroom books. Now this one in particular is Defense Against the Dark Arts and is set 76397. Now this set, along with the rest of the Harry Potter wave, will be releasing on March 1st, and this set in particular has 257 pieces and will be retailing for $30 US and 50 Australian. For all of my Aussies out there, we've had a $10 price increase on these bad boys, and yeah, I'm not happy about it, really. Now, this set was sent to me by LEGO, but all of the opinions are my own, so let's crack this open and have a look. So here's a look at the Defense Against the Dark Arts set, all built up and up close, and overall, I'm a lot more fond of this black color scheme than I guess I initially expected. It's really giving me a lot of Hufflepuff vibes with the black as well as the bright orange. I think it overall looks really neat, but before we open up the book and take a close look at it, let's have a look at these brand new minifigures. So our first minifigure is Professor Alistair Moody, and this is the second time that Moody has appeared in the recent wave of sets, and the third time we've gotten him overall, and it's definitely a really nice and cheap way to get him. Firstly, he comes along with his tall brown staff, which honestly, I would have loved to have seen a specially molded one, but at this price point, I'm kind of not surprised. He also comes along with his little flask for Polyjuice, which is just represented by this little black dome piece, and overall, I feel like this minifigure is somewhat of a letdown. I mean, if you're like me and you already own the one from the original Harry Potter CMF series and you really only care about the minifigures in a set like this, then you could give this a pass, because I feel like this minifigure is a downgrade. I mean, I'm really glad that the printing is different, because a lot of minifigures from that series just are not exclusive or unique anymore. So it's good to see that there is a big mix up here. He has also got dual molded legs, which look really good from the front, but the sort of moment you turn around, it looks a bit dodgy. The clothes also look really plain and minimal. I mean, all it is that sort of like dark tan nougat trench coat with the reddish brown underneath. I mean, the printing itself looks really good. Looks very similar as well to the CMF pattern, but just the color scheme is a lot more plain. Personally, I prefer the older version of the figure, but this still is really nice, and if you haven't gotten to Mad Eye Moody yet, is a really great option. Just like that CMF figure as well, he does come with a double-sided head and that sort of classic hairpiece. His front face looks incredible. I love how the snarl sort of looks, and his glass eye. It looks spectacular and a lot like Moody. And then when you turn his head around, you do get Barty Crouch Jr. This face print is incredibly similar, but I do believe it is slightly different to that original Mad Eye Moody figure, and he does come with the alternate hair there, so you can sort of replicate that scene from the end of the Goblet of Fire where Barty Crouch Jr. does transform back into himself. Next up is Hermione Granger, and there's nothing new or exclusive about this figure. However, it is a unique combination for her with the mid-legs, the torso, the reddish-brown wavy hair, as well as that face. Now, the hair and that head have been used before in Hagrid's Hut and a couple of other sets, including the Forbidden Forest Umbridge's Encounter. The torso has been used in the latest wave of 2020 sets, and I always love getting these robe pieces. I think they look so much better, so I'm really happy. It's such a shame, though, that they didn't do a new version of the sort of printed legs like was in the original Harry Potter CMF, but these plain black ones look fine. I personally really like this figure. I understand why Hermione's in that set, but part of me wishes that we got someone else. It would have been really cool to see a Year 4 Draco, for instance, and as usual as well, she does have her more angry double-sided head and some really nice cloak back printing. The second student for this set is Neville Longbottom, and just like Hermione, this is a unique combination of parts for Neville, but none of these pieces are exclusive or brand new. He has got the open Gryffindor robe, which I'm glad that they included two different types in this set instead of the same one. I thought that was really neat. And he's got some very similar back printing on the back. His head is the same as the version from the Astronomy Tower, so there's nothing new there. And he's got that short Mutt Williams hairpiece, which personally I don't think necessarily works for Goblet of Fire Neville. I feel like it's far too short, definitely not curly enough, and I do have plans to swap that out in my collection in the future, because I just feel like it could have been a tiny bit better, but it's fine. I mean, it works nevertheless. He's also got this really confused and sort of curious face on the back, which I think looks really cool, and for a set sort of depicting the Goblet of Fire, Mad Eye Moody, Defense Against the Dark Arts scene, I feel like Neville was a perfect choice. So here is the Defense Against the Dark Arts book built up all together. I really love the way this print looks on the black. I feel like the gold on the black piece is so vibrant, so bold, and looks incredible. I love the dark mark at the top. It looks spectacular, and the use as well of this tiny skeleton face I think is absolutely adorable. You also get a werewolf head on the side, which I imagine is a reference to Professor Lupin. You've also got a spider at the bottom, some dueling wands, a shield, as well as this really weird just sort of peg. Not sure what that's supposed to represent. And luckily this time it doesn't look like there are any spelling mistakes, unlike the Hogwarts icons. On the spine of the book as well, you do have that same dueling one piece, which is repeated, this time as a sticker there. Just like the remaining of the Hogwarts Moments books as well, you do have these little pieces on the back in order to attach them all to each other, which is great to see that they're continuing that along. This time around as well, the instructions did include sort of how to build all of this together, which is really neat. You can take off this section up here, take off the top, take off this little table, as well as the trunk, and you're ready to go. Once all of the pieces have been removed, then you can fold out this centerpiece in order to create the full Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom. Now overall, I really like the design of this classroom, although it doesn't really feel like the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom. I'm not too sure what this centerpiece is. From my knowledge and sort of just viewing this and how they depicted the set on the box, I imagine that one half is supposed to be Professor Moody's office and the other half is actually meant to be the classroom. Also, just by the way it's decorated, you've sort of got all of the mirror glass pieces and the things hanging from the walls. This centerpiece as well can fold up to sort of give you a tiny bit more room, which then it sort of gives you a better representation of all of the windows that are sort of stacked along in the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom. But it just kind of does feel a tiny bit bare when you rotate it around to the right side, and all there is to decorate is a couple of stickers here and there. Because even out of all the little side builds, the only thing that you can really put there is this grey trunk. Now this trunk is a brand new sort of top piece. The remaining of the trunk is the same as we'd sort of usually get with the chest. However, you do get this new top piece which has two studs at the top and is a lot more flat. I personally really enjoy it. I think it works really well specifically for like the Harry Potter design of sets, and I love the way it looks. You can even stick the little spider that comes along in this set on the top if you wanted to, though technically that's from the lesson itself. And most importantly, on the inside there is actually a tiny micro doll of the shrunken Alistair Moody. The back panel as well has got some really neat stickers with some portraits of wizards, as well as this skeleton sort of dinosaur thing with some potions. At the top as well, you do get these stained glass windows, and honestly, these stickers weren't too awful to apply, though it was kind of daunting applying them being such a massive piece. On the side, the stickers do continue on. You get some glass jars as well as some more ingredients and even a little kettle. You can even see the little fireplace, which is visible from either side. And in this version of the Hogwarts Moments books as well, there is actually a spot to put the classroom book, which I really appreciate. And on the inside of this one, you get a brand new class tile, which is teaching students all about the Dark Mark. Now, while this wasn't really featured in the films or the books from memory, I do really like the print of it, and I thought it was incredibly neat and a lot more interesting than one that would have just said something about forbidden curses. On the left of the hinge joint, there is another archway as well as a printed portrait right on the left. Now on the left side where the sort of classroom build is, this is where you put the remaining of the little spare pieces. You've got Alistair Moody's sort of teacher's desk or little platform up here where you can just place him and he can teach his class. You've also got a little desk, which is quite handy. You can stick the spider right in front of Neville if you really wanted to, just like in the movie. And you get two sort of seats which feel a tiny bit more like stools to me in order to stick Neville and Hermione on, and then have them actually paying attention in class for once instead of running off on an adventure. One thing that is pretty neat though is the Mad Eye Moody chalkboard. This is just a giant brick piece and has sort of a redone version of that chalkboard one. Now the last time that this was featured was in the clock tower. Overall, I feel like this build is pretty basic and pretty plain. I mean, I'm glad that they did include it, but the build for this is pretty basic. I mean, it's nothing too special. For Moody's little platform as well, again, it's nothing too special, but I think it was incorporated really neatly, especially into sort of how all of these like pieces
pieces intertwine and interlock at the top. I thought it was really neat sort of having those studs here. There's no studs in order for Moody to actually stand upright, but it gives you enough of a platform that you can place him even with his staff still attached. You don't really have to move that around. Now on this side of that center unit, again, there is some nice stickered panels of some dome dishes with some bugs and beetles and spiders and whatnot, which look kind of creepy. And then at the bottom as well, there is this random bone, which I'm not too sure what that's supposed to represent, but I mean, it's a neat detail, I guess. And as you move along, there's some weird looking eyes, as well as the other side of the fireplace, the archway, of course, and these weird mirrors hanging from the ceiling. Then on this back section with the arches, there's a lot of things that I typically see in the background of any Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, which I thought was really neat. You get that sort of giant magnifying glass, weird dome thing. There's a bunch of potions and stuff at the bottom as well, another magnifying glass, a goblet, as well as one sticker detail. There's no sticker at the top this time around, which I feel like is a bit of a missed opportunity. I would have loved to have seen that printed sort of skeleton dragon that hangs from the roof. I feel like that would have been really cool, even if you got only half of it and the other half was chopped off and maybe your imagination, you sort of picture it being here. So that is the Defense Against the Dark Arts Hogwarts Moments book. Overall, I do feel like this is one of the better ones. I also think that LEGO has learnt a lot from the first run of these books, improving things with sort of how to stack everything. It was made a lot clearer this time around. However, I do feel like this faces similar problems to some of the ones from the original wave, that being that this right-hand side is just incredibly bare. I feel like maybe something just to balance it out would have been better instead of just the singular chest. If you haven't gotten your hands on a Mad Eye Moody minifigure though, I do highly recommend this set. I feel like mainly for that reason. I mean, the tiny Mad Eye Moody microfigure is incredibly cool, but considering you do get 2 in each set, I don't think it's going to be that expensive to buy on the aftermarket on Bricklink or something like that right now. So for a lot of people, I feel like this is also a set that you could pass on unless you're a completionist like me and at this point won all of the Hogwarts Moments books. But let me know what you guys think about this set in the comments down below, and how do you think it stacks up in comparison to last year's books? And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below for more Harry Potter reviews. And until next time guys, I'll see you later.